Welcome back, YouTube, to more MSQ playthrough. It's me, DeLocato, and we are on Ultima Thule. We are wrapping up Endwalker, actually, as we speak. So let's go ahead and pop into it.
He remaineth as he was when I first approached, entombed in melancholy.
I see. Perhaps I could...
I'll handle this. So, waiting to die like all the others, are you?
Oh, I should read this. Okay. There is nothing left for our kind. Our long lives a curse as we await the end. Still as stone we shall become.
So you say. Yet your kind has found a new beginning on our star. One of you braved the expanse, bearing with him a clutch of eggs. They and their children now rule our skies, their song heard by all.
Our kin? On another star? And yet, on thee do I smell the blood of my brethren. Were they drawn into discord and war on their new home?
They were. They suffered much, and repaid their suffering in kind.
It mattereth not whither we fly. Ever will a sanguine ocean await us. Ever will retribution's wheel turn. And so on the last of my pride as a dragon I break free of this wheel. I renounce conflict, exile myself from the other, never again to be touched by the flames of hatred.
Had your brethren made the selfsame choice, my family might still be alive. Yet lasting peace does not come to those who simply retreat from conflict. No, you must be willing to confront it, to stare into the face of your foe, and see yourself in him. Only then can you break the cycle of torment and tragedy. This lesson, a dear friend taught me at the risk of his life. There is no nobility in your penance. You wallow in self-pity. And after everything we've endured, we will not let you stop us. Stay back. That bars our way. The rest is up to you.
No! Not Estinian too!
There's a wind. He's opened the way for us. Sacrificed himself to remake this place, like Thancred did.
Oh, Alphino.
Come. Let us follow the wind. It will not lead us astray. He would not.
Look there, the wind. This is Estinian's doing, I'm sure of it. We should ride its flow and see where it leads. A powerful gale has delivered to you to another island. The other scions should arrive before long. He did it. He found a way forward for us. The dragons remain trapped within a prison of their own making, lamenting the horrors of war. Yet Estinian knew them better than most. He was a man of honor and a dear friend, willing to fight to the very end for what he believed was right. And he's still fighting Alphino, just like Thancred. Their sacrifices are why we can survive here, why we still have a chance to stop her. Even in spirit, they're unwilling to give in to despair, and we mustn't either. Alice is right, we must press on for their sake. As the stolen Alice said, we must continue. Notice the change in our surroundings. Perhaps this is the memory of an altogether different world. It would be prudent to learn more of it then. Tread carefully lest we lose our footing on this island. It's like super dark. Maybe it's the glare on my screen, but it is super dark. Were it not for the violet crystal embedded in its surface, 'twould appear as ordinary stone. A curious script has been etched upon them. Alas, it is not a language with which I am familiar. I cannot say I recognize it either. Nor I. The dragons, from what I recall, preserve their knowledge in song and eschew the written word entirely, so we may assume this is the work of another race, one we have yet to encounter. Metean claim the dragon's world suffered a slow death, seeking the release of oblivion. What life we find here, like as not, doth wend its way toward a similar end. What do you suppose that is over there? I'm not sure, it's hard to make out at this distance, but its surface seems to bear the same crystals as this monument. Meaning there's a chance we may find whoever built them both. We should go and have a look. Come on. Hail, travelers. This is a most unexpected occurrence. Hello, this is your home? Indeed it is. Ah, forgive me, I had forgotten. An exchange of introductions is expected when first meeting those with whom one is unacquainted. When the vibration of vocal folds was still required to convey our thoughts and intention, Ia, I believe, was the pronunciation used when referring to our people. Though it is not entirely applicable given our present state, you are welcome to use this appellation. As for nomenclature to address my individual person, I believe it would be pronounced Kofkudg. Yes, Kofkudg of the ear. We have encountered beings that communicate intermittently through thought, but never one that is wholly without voice. I presume we are having this conversation via the medium of ether, or dynamis, as the space is suffused with vast quantities of it. Fascinating in either case. I gather your response to my presence is positive then. That is well, for there is something I wish to ask of you. Like yourselves, we Ea are aether-based life forms. Therefore, it may be surmised that your bodies are of comparable biological composition to those we once possessed. I have a number of queries regarding your subjective perception of the five senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. In total, I have prepared 198,712,180,827. That's rather a lot, isn't it? My apologies. I have omitted a great many details necessary to understand the nature of my request. Though we dispensed with our corporeal vessels long ago, we have rediscovered a need for the flesh, and have endeavored to recreate our erstwhile forms. However, all pertinent records have been lost due to the passage of time. Take, for example, the nervous system. It is well within our power to recreate, but we have no frame of reference for sensations once experienced by our people, for which we may compromise our ability to interact with our physical environment. And the reason you need to regain corporeal form? Why, to bring an end to our existence, of course. Though need is perhaps too strong a word, it would be a simple matter to unmake ourselves through use of etheric exsanguinators, but such a death seems inadequate. The traditionalists among us believe proper death requires an inescapable sense of impermanence in one's final moments, an experience found only with bodies of flesh. We should very much like to hear more of your plans. In exchange, we will answer any questions you have the best to our ability. Such an exchange of information would indeed prove useful. Very well. To ensure efficacious exchange, I hereby invite you to our home. Yes, the abode of the Ea, where we traditionalists prepare our demise. I presume your consent to answer questions is indicative of a tacit approval of our plans, in which case your cooperation is greatly appreciated. I must caution you, however, to be mindful of the Ea wandering in the desert. Their desire for bodies of flesh could be described as overzealous. Now, if you would follow me. This is going rather smoothly, not that I'm complaining. Even so, we mustn't forget their aim is oblivion, much like the dragons. Though I fail to see why a civilization so seemingly advanced would choose to unmake all they have created. At any rate, we will find no answers to dallying here. Let us be on our way. Welcome to our abode. Most of our compeers you will find remain idle in their domiciles, though your quizzical expressions indicate my phrasing is unclear. I speak, of course, of the violet crystalline conchets hanging from the stone structures there. You say they remain idle, but what of your work to regain corporeal bodies? An astute question, and understandable given your finite nature. We have no desire to pursue our research, for it is no longer necessary. If in our idleness we are struck by sudden inspiration, we rise to pursue said inspiration to its conclusion. That is why I present for your arrival and why I continue to engage with you still. But while the others are not currently in a motile state, rest assured they would not object were you to disturb their respite. You need only cast your thoughts towards one of their crystalline domiciles to communicate. You cast your thoughts toward the crystalline domicile, but there is no response. You wish to speak? Very well, pray a moment if you would. Why we seek our end, you ask? If you wish to know, I will tell you. Just a moment, I must remember. What form did I take when last I emerged? The strange moaning comes and goes, but soon fades into silence. And that is hella water. Did your inquiries yield satisfactory responses? I see. If they fail to answer, then it is likely because their minds have unraveled due to prolonged idleness. They are not but concentrated aether now. Worry not, there are no others who have need of lodgings, and they will not prove a hindrance to remain as they are. More importantly, you said few did answer your request for an audience, yes? I imagine they will be with us ere long. I had no luck, but everyone else fared well enough. Quite a few Ea have awakened. Ah, there they are. May I introduce to you Lalaki, Duduki, and Nenidiki. It has been too long, Koff. I dare say Saturn IV has since been completed in orbit. Indeed, until the travelers brought it to my attention, I hadn't noticed how unraveled some had become. Travelers? Ah, of course, the ones who wish to know why we seek to regain corporeal forms. The truth of the matter is as plain to see as the neighboring systems, but my single account would fail to satisfy the requirements for scientific objectivity. Thus did I bid them awaken you. Am I the only one who struggles to tell who is speaking? Nay, thou art not. In the absence of corporeal forms of the divergence they afford, mayhap such similarity in voice is unavoidable. By the way, Koff, have you already observed the requisite custom for the travelers? That which one is expected to do when receiving guests, a matter of proper form? Ah, yes, so long has it been. It had completely escaped my mind. It still does. What was it again? I can't seem to remember. Neither do I. Pity, I was hoping you would. Perhaps we can search the archives for the answer. Come now. The archives have long been frozen, lest we subject ourselves to further dolor. Surely you recall that much? Of course, food. The custom is to serve food. Beings of flesh such as they must regularly replenish their aether. By contributing to their replenishment, we communicate our friendly intention. That's right, that's right. We duly invite you to join us in communal repast, after which we may engage in leisurely conversation. If we have chance to learn something, then I see no reason to decline. Excellent. If you would care to follow, we shall feast you on the purest aether. This facility is where we replenish our aether. There is no particular name for it, but we traditionalists sometimes use the word restaurant. Now then, if you would take your place with your comrades, the space will soon be awash with purest aether. Please absorb as much as you like. You brace yourself for a rush of sweet aether, but nothing seems to happen. Perhaps you need to wait a little while longer. You brace yourself again, but again nothing seems to happen. Just as I had suspected, as meticulously as one might recreate the Air's homeworld, this is Ultima Thule. One cannot simply generate aether here. As recreations, our friends are oblivious to this fact, to the very truth of their existence, much like the phantoms of the recreated Amarant. However appearances may seem, we must ever be mindful that it is the memories of the dead with whom we deal. So, did you have your fill of aether? Alas, we couldn't absorb it. A deficiency in our forms, it would seem. Oh, how very unfortunate. May I ask how you normally replenish your aether? Through your mouths, you say? How very primitive and quaint. To think that their mouths serve not only to expel sound, but draw in sustenance besides. Such life forms have long since vanished from our systems. Though we regrettably could not partake of your magnificent feast, rest assured we feel your welcome most keenly. In the course of acquainting ourselves with your sophisticated ways, however, we could not fail but wonder, wherefore do you wish to obtain vessels of flesh and thence to vanish? Will you not favor us with an explanation? You flesh and blood beings are always so hasty. It does have its charm, however. Very well, we shall indulge you. In the beginning, when the Ea yet possessed corporeal bodies, our ancestors dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge and technological advancement. By transcending all limitations, we believe we would eliminate sorrow and abide in true happiness. From the tangible such as land to the intangible such as labor, there exist myriad hindrances to progress, but the most confining of all was the flesh itself. Our natural lifespan was digressingly middling, you see. Too short to enjoy unhurried lives, yet too long to be considered disposable. Furthermore, to simply maintain the integrity of our bodies demanded considerable resources. But we managed to solve this problem. After long years, we discovered how to become non-corporeal entities with everlasting lives, untroubled by the failures of the flesh. Thus changed, we had more time and freedom to continue our scientific pursuits. We went on to make ever great strides in our quest to transcend all limitations until we finally decided to challenge the last of them all, the limit of knowledge. That is to say, deciphering the laws of creation. We sought to discover how the universe came into being and explain all extant phenomena and thence predict the future. If we could but achieve this, we believe that we would be free from uncertainty and anxiety. And did you find the answers you sought? Yes, we did. Our efforts revealed to us a fundamental truth. Knowledge of said truth is essential for the continuation of our conversation. If you would learn more, we will share it with you. No, we mustn't. Primitive as they are, it would be unspeakably cruel to deprive them of their ignorance. They are possessed of corporeal forms, their lives readily ended. As those who have gone before, is it not our duty to warn them? What thinkest thou? We have deliberated and come to a consensus. If you are resolved to know it, we will disclose to you the truth we discovered, the truth of the universe. Seek us at the stone pillars just outside the bounds of the abode, a place called Eligia. A fundamental truth. We will hear it, of course. Let us learn what has led such an enlightened people to this indolent end. Ere we join the there is one trifling matter I would fain investigate. MSQ Grahatia, might I trouble you for your assistance? But of course. My thanks. We shall head outside the abode if you would kindly follow me. I know not what mischief you are plotting, Urianger, but I trust you have our best interest at heart. The rest of us shall go on ahead to Eligia. Lest you worry, we won't start without you. Shit. Was afraid of that. This place shall serve. Is it the spring that you wish to investigate? Pray forgive me, my friends, but there is naught to investigate. 'Twas but a pretense to speak in private. Do you have our undivided attention? As we have established here in Ultima Thule, those denizens of ruined stars are recreated in their twilight days. Yet one question doth rise in my mind. So faithfully formed are the simulacra, they believe they selves yet amongst the living. How dost thou suppose this is possible? Median made contact with them while they still lived. Of course, she must have visited the stars of the dragons and the EA before either race perished in their entirety. Thus could she make their emotions her own, and with them create more faithful simulacra than she had relied on any historical account. So too did I theorize, and upon that assumption consider how those two races may have met their demise. According to thine own tale, Metian perceiveth the emotions of those nearby as her own, a heightened sense of empathy intrinsic to her nature as an entelechy. In the course of her starfaring journey, she encountered beings who strongly desired a cessation of their existence. She would be powerless before that desire, even as she possesseth the power to grant it, the power of Dynamis. 'Tis my supposition that, overwhelmed by their longing for death, Metian did unleash Dynamis and usher the dragons and the Ea unto their doom. Of course, such was not always the outcome. Full many stars did she find already lost to ruin. In order to create a terminus, however, the fervent desire for the end is essential. Therefore, should you struggle to find the way forward, pray ask yourselves this. In the place where you stand, whose is the soul that yearneth most desperately for oblivion? Why do you tell us this now? There again would I betray your trust. This pledge I did make to my comrades. In bringing thee into thy confidence, I will remain true to my word. As for thee, let us consider it fitting reward for the secrets I harbored for the Crystal Exarch. I once placed my faith in thy chosen path, walking at thy side full knowing that we were bound for thy demise. I ask now that thou returnest the favor and abide in faith as I fulfill mine own destiny. If you say debt has come due, how am I to refuse? 'Tis indelicate of me, I know full well, and I can't but beg thy forgiveness. Yet even if I must needs go to such lengths, I cannot well feign ignorance of the answer I have found within. The answer to the question, in what moment might I stand strongest? After all that we've been through, I will only say this. Do what you must. Do what you must and see your conviction through. I shall, my friend, I shall. Without further ado, then, let us go to join our comrades. Let us be off to Elegia. I didn't attune? Ah, damn. It seems everyone is accounted for. Shall we then?
Please continue. Tell us about this truth you discovered.
Very well. Bear in mind, however, that the purpose of this conversation is not to impart scholarly knowledge, for such requires that you comprehend the subject matter, which you will not. We will forego the intricacies of our scientific methodology and deal only with the conclusion, the end of our society and our world. We acknowledge, with regret, that your star is in the midst of the same panic-induced cataclysm that befell Deneb 3. As such, in order to avoid causing undue distress, we will refrain from explicitly stating how much time you have remaining.
You are entirely too kind. I pray you recount your tale as you see fit.
In the beginning, the universe was but a tiny particle. Then suddenly, this particle began to expand, having remained entirely in the bounds of your star. The phenomenon may be difficult for your kind to grasp, but this expansion has since continued unabated. Speculating that the universe could not grow indefinitely, we sought to learn what might occur, and made a worrying discovery. The stars will continue to spread apart, as will their finite thermal energies. Eventually, all heavenly bodies will grow cold and freeze. No new stars will be born, and the universe will enter into an eternal ice age. In hopes of proving that this determination was erroneous, we scrutinized our research from all angles Even as we sought to avert the everlasting winter, the endeavor proved fruitless. So infamously so, in fact, that it became synonymous with vain effort. The universe as we know it would end, and there is no way to prevent it. Beneath the weight of this knowledge, our society stagnated. Though we had time still, it was a cold comfort. Why strive for anything when desolation is assured? When our wealth of wisdom, accumulated since the dawning of our kind, would be forever lost. No civilization would rise from our ashes. No scholar recover our knowledge. In silence unbroken, naught would stir. Intellect was once our pride. Overnight, it became our shame. Our works, monuments to futility. Immortality, our greatest invention, became a source of suffering. Rather than suffer on, many chose to unmake themselves by means of etheric exsanguinators. Etched upon these stones are the testaments of such souls. Though many left no words at all, thinking it a pointless gesture. Once we have obtained vessels of flesh, we likewise intend to vanish. If you understand this, understand aught of our tale, you will abandon your quest for knowledge. Ignorance truly is bliss. If you would cling to your illusory happiness, remain primitive and pure. It is the only way.
So that's your story. While I appreciate your advice, I will not heed it, convinced though you may be of this truth. It is yours, and not mine. Indeed, truth, I have ever believed, is in the eye of the beholder.
Are you suggesting that we have reached a faulty conclusion? That our science failed us?
Hardly. As you yourself said, the subject matter is beyond my comprehension. And that, I accept, is true. I do not possess the knowledge to prove or disprove your conclusion. In my mortal years, I doubt I could even approach the wisdom of the air. But of one thing am I absolutely certain. I would not be happier in ignorance.
Y'shtola, no! You mustn't!
The most important lesson I've learned is that learning isn't simply passing one's eyes over words. Nay, it is when understood for oneself that knowledge attains its true value. This is what has sustained me, driven me onward in joy and wonder, in anger and sorrow. The universe may end, and all may be for naught, but I will live as I always have. I will always seek out new knowledge, and no conclusion of yours, no matter how grim, can dampen my desire.
I suppose it is only to be expected. Their feeble minds cannot fathom the terrifying gravity of it all. But worry not. We consider it our duty to enlighten you, and we will not stop until you grasp the full extent of our despair.
soon dissipate. There may be a way to restore it. Asm's magic. So long as our souls remain, you can use it to summon us back. But you mustn't, for it would mean losing our way forward. This I only reveal so that you can promise not to invoke the magic. We came here knowing what victory may cost. So press on. Press on, and do not look back.
I shall join thee. As subterfuge is not required, thou shalt not suffer for mine absence.
Urianger.
My resolve hath never been as strong as thine. Full oft have I wavered in my decisions, and afterwards been stricken with regret. In spite of this, I may still stand with my comrades, supporting them as they attempt the greatest of feats. This truth I have learned in the course of our journey. And many though my shortcomings may be, I may also claim to excel in prophecies. My studies, into which have granted me the flexibility of mind needed to bend this malleable reality. Thus shall I hope that thou mayest have the strength to resist, and our comrades the strength to continue.
With you to urge us on, how could we possibly fail?
What's this? An extinguished civilization. Rekindled.
That's right. Our quest doesn't end here. We'll press on, and we will find you.
There. That's where you'll find me.
Is that another star?
Of the stars we visited, most were already devoid of life. And where there was life still, the inhabitants wished for death. But even death, we learned, isn't truly the end. It is but a part of the cycle of rebirth. Souls return to the star, or in its absence, a larger flow. And eventually they are reborn, alive again, to know suffering anew. True salvation lies not in dying. It lies in not being born. This is the gift I would give to you. To all life on beautiful Atheris. To that end, we created an egg wherein life cannot quicken. That dead sun. Attain it if you can, before your friends' emotions fade away, along with their protection.
Are you all ready to continue on? Then let us make for where that light's shown. Ishtal and Orange have opened a way for us. Yes, I can feel it. The aether emanating from the arcane pattern. This is a portal, and no mistake. Let us see where it leads. Amazing. Yet another civilization. Attacked as soon as you arrived. Not the most welcoming of places, is it? We must try to find denizens who are amenable to conversation. We should also get the lay of the land to see how far we can go. I'll help Alphanel with that. In the meantime, you and Graha can search for friendlier folk. Apart from hostile beings, take care with your footing. I mislike the place of this terrain. Not knowing what the locals are like, you'd best take care of yourselves. We'll find you once we've finished. I expect the twins will seek the outermost bounds of the Isle, so I propose we search the central area. There are machines patrolling here and there, sentinels in all likelihood. Like those you encountered, they will most certainly attack any who venture too close. So let us avoid them, and look for others that appear more approachable. That wasn't far at all. You see naught but patrolling machines in the area. They do not seem inclined to non-violent intercourse. Aetherite, I'm grabbing that. Look, Mask, the machines here do not appear hostile. Let's see if we can communicate with them. Begging your pardon, but we are searching for the denizens of this star. Unknown life forms detected. Assigning generic label. Interplanetary travelers. Greetings and welcome to the planet. Planet? What? Could you please repeat that? It appears your hearing organ is unable to process the name of our tongue. It may be translated into yours as Alphatron. Our people, meanwhile, are called the Omicrons, and you stand within one of our outposts. The Omicrons, you say? And what is it that you do here? We are preparing for war. As we presently do not have a designated target, you have nothing to fear. Should your star become designated, however, you will be taken into custody and/or terminated. Not a little frightening, these Omicrons, but at least they seem to be forthright. I will see what else I can learn from this fellow if you could try speaking with the others. Greetings, traveler. When venturing outside the outpost, beware malfunctioning units. They do not heed Sir's command and indiscriminately attack all non-Omicrons. For the avoidance of confusion, be advised that Sir is the alias of Stigma 1. Sir issues instructions to our forces as the foremost of the 6 strategic matrices that bear the designation Sigma. Measuring combat capability. Result negligible. Subject falls outside targeting parameters. Greetings, traveler. We are the Omicrons, and our objective is self-enhancement. In order to achieve this, we venture forth in conquest to acquire combat data and resources. Most recently, we succeeded in subjugating the home world of the beings whose strength was said to be without parallel, the dragons. Yet though the endeavor yielded a wealth of combat data, the star... I almost said Star Wars. The star was rendered barren and unable to yield resources. A subsequent costing determined that the losses incurred exceeded the gains. Autonomous weapon deployment complete. Vanguard armament upgrade complete. Munition levels satisfactory. Combat readiness assessment nominal. Awaiting instructions from Sir. Maintaining state of combat readiness. You learned a few things? So did I. Ere we share our findings, however, I believe it best we step outside the outpost. Come with me. Ah, there you are. We finished surveying the area. This will come as no surprise, but there was no way forward. There were portals like the one we used to get here, but those that worked only sent us to isolated isles. Then, as before, we must locate the embodiment of the emotion that bars the way. What of yourselves? Did you find anyone to speak with? So the Omicron seek to advance themselves through conquest. Following their victory over the dragons, they stand ready for the next campaign, but their leader has yet to issue new commands, and so they wait. In such a place, who would be it that fits Urianje's description? A soul whose yearning for oblivion surpasses all others. Urianje said this during our investigation before we joined you in Elegia. So that's the way of it. Why couldn't he just say it to all of us? Given what we know of this place, it's certainly a curious state of affairs. While the dragons in the air longed for death, the Omicrons longed for conflict. As much as they led to destruction, it must be considered a distinct desire. In order to find the source of the dominant emotion, I believe we should seek out their leader, this Sir. According to MO32, the first Omicron with whom we spoke, there is a console by which we might communicate with it. MO32 also added that it would be a pointless exercise, but that in itself, I believe, is worth investigating. What say you? Oh, that's actually going to do it for this one, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the block here. So I will definitely see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching along.